Hello, thank you for joining us for turning your dining program into your best marketing tool. I'm Dana Fillmore, registered dietitian and healthcare marketing manager with Gordon Food Service.
Hi, I'm Nick Florick, General Manager of Trust 20, a cleaning and safety certification program supported by Gordon Food Service.
And I am Barb Minger. I am a registered dietitian and national account manager at Gordon Food Service. I'm excited to be here today to help present this topic of turning your dining program into your best marketing tool. We will share information to achieve several objectives. First, we would like to explain why dining programs truly matter in long-term care and can set you apart from others in your market. Second, we will be sharing examples of innovative dining programs that operators could use to enhance the resident experience. And finally, we will present effective marketing strategies that can help influence community occupancy.
Let's start off with a quiz. According to a December 2020 survey by Croft and Communications, a senior living marketing firm, what do you think? What services do seniors look for most when searching for a senior living community? Exercise room, gym, bistro or pub, tech center, movie room, all of the above? Well, if you answered all of the above, you are correct. The point I want to make with this is that dining made the list. Dining is important to seniors. And a host of other food service related amenities also made the list, from restaurants with a variety of different offerings and specialty coffee and just plain old high quality food service. Dining is important to our seniors. It's a part of their daily experience, right? And even more. And quite likely, seniors won't settle for just food on a plate. Food is a daily highlight most look forward to. It's usually a central feature of events and celebrations like birthdays and holidays, as well as everyday social gatherings. Now, we know that in times of COVID, as we're working to be socially distant and restricting some of our events and communal dining even, it's a little bit hard to get that social interaction through dining. But what we want you to know, there are still ways, safe ways, you can encourage social interaction within dining while meeting COVID-19 restrictions. But the bottom line is, dining remains an important part of our days and directly impacts resident satisfaction. And then beyond satisfaction, we know nutrition is the foundation of health, right? A good dining program offers consistent and reliable nutrition for residents. And having access to balanced meals every day reduces the risk of unintended weight loss, dehydration, and negative effects thereof. In fact, Unidine, a dining management services company, reported a while back that a large Midwest senior living community enjoyed a drop in hospital readmissions, a drop in incidence of unintended weight loss, and other quality measures such as UTIs, as a direct result of implementing an interdisciplinary lead with dining strategy. Again, bottom line, an exceptional dining program can influence quality of care. So, improved resident satisfaction, improved clinical outcomes, together they are a great formula for boosting occupancy. It's what residents both want and need, a perfect combination that fits nicely with our value-based, person-centered goals. A lot of long-term care operators are struggling with occupancy right now, and we're looking for ways and strategies to help. Improving dining options can be a beneficial strategy for business development and with your overall aim to boost resident satisfaction and quality of care. And that's what we want to talk about today. Letting dining play a strategic role for your organization. Using it to create differentiation between you and your competitors. Stand out in a crowd. And when you start to look at the ROI here, when investing time, energy, and dollars, you'll start to see a nice looking opportunity. And once you commit to this strategy, it requires a vision. Consider developing a brand, and we want you to think broadly here. What's your brand promise? What do you want your brand to represent? All the way to giving your dining program its own identity. Let's talk about brand promise first. Popular promises in a dining brand can include a lot of things. Some things that we've seen over time that I want to highlight. Number one, excellent quality of food. Obviously, that's something that's a no-brainer. You can't do this without excellent quality of food. How about also exceptional experience, hospitality, customer service, the atmosphere that you're in? Maybe that's what you want to be known for. Or it could be wellness, just playing off the idea of the value of balanced meals consistently from day to day. Or within the wellness idea, you can get specific. For example, the Mind diet. Maybe you offer food from Mind diet. That's a combination of the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet, and it's currently being studied for its positive impacts on different types of dementia, including Alzheimer's. And if you're working at an organization where you aren't required to have therapeutic diets, maybe offering some of those therapeutic diets could be part of your brand promise. Cardiac diets, diabetes, meal planning, consistency modified like minced and moist, or pureed. These are all ideas you can think about including. One last one is stewardship. Don't forget about potentially including your stewardship focus and goals in your branding. A lot of people will talk about the green environment that they promote in their kitchen. Maybe it's local purchasing or supporting local community service. Whatever you do, and really here, a skilled nursing might focus a little bit different than assisted living or independent living or memory care. What's important as you go through this exercise is to understand what your residents really want and what their family members want. And what do you want to stand out for being the best for? Get feedback from current and prospective residents and staff, and explore it with all the critical stakeholders within your organization. Trinity Senior Living Communities went through this exercise some time ago, and they found out dining was a big part of their overall brand. And this is a really good example of how to think big about your dining program. And wherever you land, you need to make sure you're proud of it.
Thank you, Dana. As you said, you certainly want to be excited and proud of what you are marketing. You may have created something prior to COVID that is now not fulfilling the goals of your organization because of staffing issues and a wide variety of circumstances. This may be a time of building and rebuilding again as you establish reasonable goals for you and your staff. We have certainly come a long way from tray service to a restaurant-style dining experience over the years, and we want to keep that going. We cannot forget about all of the effort that was put into this home-like experience that was truly exceptional to our residents. Then March of 2020 came. I would like you to think about the following as we move through our session today. What was your dining experience prior to COVID? Were you satisfied with it as an organization? Has dining been a team effort in your community always? Or have you found over the last 12 months that you're able to work together towards something new? What was the level of satisfaction of your patrons and families before and now? Do you have goals that you were striving for that stopped suddenly? And are you able to pivot easily between styles of dining based on the levels of normal that we are experiencing? Being intentional about building your program is essential. The industry terms that we are hearing right now are react, recover, and rebuild. That is exactly what needs to be done in many aspects of healthcare, but is especially true in dining as we come out of the past year. You need to be proud of all the methods of serving as you pivot and react to the COVID cases in your building. You certainly may need to recover continuously as changes will be the constant moving forward. And you'll need to build and rebuild the dining program so you can be proud of it and make it the reason that people want to see and live in your community. As you look at the big picture, you may need to take a breath and understand where you are now in the aftermath of labor shortages and census changes, including performing some self-audits on your operation and giving surveys to your residents and families, as Dana mentioned, in order to discover real-time data and information that can help you move forward. You also may need to go back to the basics with reviewing best practices with new and inexperienced staff. If your entire organization was involved with creating a restaurant-style dining experience before, but things changed over the past year because of the consequences of COVID, review getting all hands on deck to improve the overall experience if possible. And of course, a comfortable atmosphere is necessary. No matter where the resident is located for their dining experience, in their room or in the dining area, it needs to be something that they are satisfied with. And ensuring that assistance and support is still in place during all of these changing times is essential as well. And finally, innovation is what we are talking about today. Setting yourself apart through creativity, no matter what your dining situation may look like. The overall experience should be something unforgettable. And so with that, we have some ideas as you think about how you can make your dining experience stand out. There is that saying that we eat with our eyes. And with something as simple as plate presentation, making every meal special is extremely important. Chef Carl Morin from Quebec shares some thoughts on the importance of doing this and his experience in his community. His quote, "We need to make food even more appetizing because for many of our seniors, mealtime is very important. It's their time to socialize with our residents and share a good meal. It is important to give them a great experience and show them all the love we are putting into each of these plates. Especially now that they are not able to socialize, this is so important to their experience and essentially to help maintain and increase their intake for good nutrition." Plate presentation is something that we have talked about for years, but it is now more important than ever to create this unique but essentially simple addition to your service routine. These photos are from Chef Carl from Quebec, and as you can see, he placed care on every plate. You can see the use of herbs in this presentation here, and you can also look in terms of both desserts and center of the plate items can use produce in a variety of ways. We also like the use of sauces for platescaping, and it certainly does add a lot of dimension when you're looking at the plate. Looking at edible flowers and adding height to a plate as well is a great way to give some dimension. Elegant china is another great way to highlight the table. It is also good to look at china in terms of memory care and making sure that there is a good presentation for that population as well. Finally, highlighting what you are doing with special diets can truly appeal to families looking for a location for their loved one requiring modifications. This is an example of a pureed diet that have taken much care in making the product look like what the consumer is supposed to be eating. And we have been encouraging this for a very long time, but I truly feel like this can set you apart from your competition if you are doing this in your community. Creative dining experiences are extremely important to set yourself apart. When we think about some alternative ideas, we look at teaching kitchens. Certainly, being COVID compliant is extremely important. We were doing teaching kitchens prior to COVID in terms of bringing our residents together and looking at the overall experience for them, giving them something to look forward to in the dining area with a chef. But now, do a virtual demo of a recipe or a meal. You can then maybe sell those kits for an independent living community for those residents to do in their room for maybe a revenue generation opportunity. You can also offer the same experience for skilled nursing. Do a virtual demo or do a demo in the hallway and roll the cart around with a sample of what you made, even as simple as a fun beverage to encourage hydration and offer safe socialization. A wonderful way to create excitement around the food or beverage itself. Another idea are meals to prospective residents and family members. Highlight the effort you have put into your grab-and-go containers and presentation through curbside pickup. This is something that's really essential. We already established today that we know food makes a big difference in placing someone into a community. So having the families being able to understand what this looks like through this opportunity is great. Certainly inviting prospects in for the dining experience once restrictions are lifted is extremely important. It's a way to showcase what you can do as families are trying to make this decision. Providing meals to your community can be another excellent way to get creative with your dining program. Christian Care Retirement Community started a meal mission several years ago as they saw a need in their surrounding area for seniors at home. We have a testimonial from the administrator regarding the program. Please take a listen to Preston from Christian Care regarding this opportunity.
I'm Preston Carr. I'm the Executive Director at Christian Care Retirement Community. We're a senior life plan community in northeastern Indiana. And I do find it very valuable to use our dining services as a marketing tool, and specifically our dining services program that we've called our Meal Mission Program. The Meal Mission Program at Christian Care is an outreach that we use to the community to help provide hot, fresh meals to those that are in the community that are maybe shut-ins, people that don't have the ability to cook for themselves, and folks that are usually in the more senior population that we serve. And we found it to be a really great way to not only provide fresh food and meals to these individuals who have that need, but there's also a socialization aspect where they have the opportunity to have a volunteer come and drop off the food at their home. Could be once a week, could be a couple of times a week, but those volunteers that we have through our organization, they're able to pick those up and take them out to the person, and just a couple of minutes of maybe some quick chatting and just checking in on them just to see how they're doing. Before COVID, obviously, that was the case. Things have changed a little bit now, but that's been such an impact. And the reason it's such a valuable thing to use your dining services programming as a form of marketing is because in our particular instance, we've seen that translate into people in the community. They get to know us, they get involved with our organization. And when the time comes for them to make a decision, whether it's for assisted living, independent living, or even healthcare, they already have a connection to us. And so that makes that sales process that much easier. We would categorize them as a warm lead in that case, because they already have an experience with us. They already understand who they're dealing with. They probably already even know some of our staff because of the people that are preparing their food or dropping the food off. And that's just one good example of what we're seeing from our organization. Another great example of why you'd want to consider using dining services programming as a means of marketing, we actually have received tangible financial reimbursement for our organization from this. We actually do have a charge that we do for each meal, and that goes out and is paid by the person receiving the food. It's at a discounted rate compared to what they would pay in the community and things like that, so it's still affordable, but it's also just an added source of revenue that we can use to help offset some of our operating expenses. And the last thing from just a financial benefit that we've seen, it's probably rare that this happens, but we actually were able to have one person who used our Meal Mission Program. They actually never ended up coming to Christian Care, but they were so impressed and they loved using our service so much that they actually left us a large donation through their estate. And we were able to take that money that we received from that person, and just recently here in the last year, we were able to actually do a full renovation project to one of our dining services areas because that money had been earmarked for dining services. And we were able to make a brand new kind of dining room area, gathering area, that's a reservable room rental space that families and people can come and have parties in. So it's been a really great opportunity for us, and we would definitely recommend it for anyone.
Very insightful comments from Preston, right? He leads us back into thinking about the benefits of marketing your dining program. Whatever it is you choose to feature in your dining program to set you apart, be sure to spread the word because it helps in a lot of different ways. As we said before, mealtime is important to your resident satisfaction and to their health and wellness. So sharing your dining story is a good opportunity to build true brand awareness by highlighting what makes you different from your competitors in this area. It can help intensify your culture through caring and build trust, and that you will provide nutrition expertise as a foundation of wellness, as well as create loyalty from consumers and employees. You need to be purposeful about who you tell your dining story to as well. So, for example, if you are standing out by hiring chefs with upscale resort living experience, or maybe enrolling your dining staff in cooking classes or customer service courses, you gotta figure out how you're gonna tell that story. I recommend documenting a plan to tell it to your current and prospective residents, family, and staff. And with staff, it's important to find ways to feed your current employees, make sure they can brag about your food, all your employees, because people will listen to them. You also need to tell your story to local healthcare organizations. This can help you earn referrals to be part of their post-acute network. Barb, I believe you have a great story in this area to share.
Yes, Dana, thanks. I actually know a hospital system that was focusing on reducing cardiac readmissions and therefore focusing on a low sodium diet in their organization. And because of that, there was a long-term care chain that had referred to them quite often, but they were not reducing their sodium in their organization low enough for them to accept those referrals any longer from them in the community.
That's huge. It's an incredible impact. And similarly, I'm aware of a large university hospital that is using IDDSI. That's the new dysphagia diet standards. They prefer to send their patients to post-acute providers that use IDDSI too. So think about this, and it's a really good thing to be aware of as you work together to improve care transitions.
It is good to pull your dining story into as many marketing efforts as possible to reach all of these populations that we're talking about today, such as your website and social media, which Nick will talk more about the digital strategy later in this presentation, but your printed materials are important as well. Some organizations will even create a separate brochure just for dining to emphasize how special the experience truly is. And think of the impact you can make by providing an appetizer at your marketing events or a special recipe that your community is proud of or known for. Why not highlight dining and do something special? We asked Preston once again to share some more with us about how Christian Care encompasses dining into various marketing events. Please take a listen.
So one of the ways that we also create value for our organization is by connecting with other healthcare organizations and providers in our community. And we've traditionally done that on an annual basis at our Senior Expo that takes place here in our local community, as well as our health fair that takes place every fall. And we're able to connect with a lot of those different healthcare vendors and create even better relationships with all of them. And I think in a way that creates a better referral network for our organization to be more successful with referrals. And a lot of that is focused around our food that we serve at those different programs. A lot of times we have a lot of residents or prospective seniors, people that are coming to that expo or that health fair, and they're there for the food, but they also want to find out how their health is and get different ways of being able to interact with agencies and things in their community for aging. But that's a great way that we are able to gain greater value and greater relationship with other organizations is through our food. And people see the quality that we have in our food. They see us there serving that food, and they know that it's really well prepared and that it's done with love and a lot of great care by our staff, and it's for a purpose. And so that's one way that we're also finding value through our dining services program.
We also have an example of a TV commercial by Brookdale using dining as their main focus.
I was out in the dining room, meeting the residents, and I had a gentleman stop me and ask me if I made his dinner. He had lost his wife recently, but I didn't know that. He made a remark to me about not sure that he wanted to be there anymore, but he said something to me that has stuck with me to this day. After having your dinner, I think I want to stick around a while. And that really meant something to me. I never had an experience like that. And it just let me know that what I'm doing is much more important than just food.
Those were great examples of how highlighting your capabilities at events and advertising the impact of food on individuals in your community can certainly go a long way. Let's look at some examples of what some operators have done in social media. This is certainly becoming more and more common, and I feel that this really did explode during COVID-19, and understandably so, in order that family and loved ones could see the good things that were happening inside the community. However, why not continue this ongoing and continue to be creative? Here are some examples from Chef Carl Morin in Quebec, who we referenced earlier. You don't have to wait for special events or holidays to highlight your menu. You can see how he has used social media to highlight everyday menu offerings. I especially like the photo of the menu board showing what's served and the care that went into each plate. And here are some more long-term care operators highlighting what they do day to day. Trilogy Health Services spotlights their to-go meals, which really should be done in the environment that we're living in right now. People want to see the confidence you have in serving food in this manner. Glenwood Community spotlights how they made holiday meals special despite COVID restrictions. And they also focused on employee appreciation to the food and nutrition staff, which is a great way to emphasize the dedication that the organization has to the dining experience. We asked Preston Carr to share his thoughts on using social media such as Facebook for marketing.
We're very active on Facebook. We have a lot of followers on our Facebook channel, our page, and we are able to add content to that on a very frequent basis. And we get a lot of interaction from different family members, people that are in the community. Very often, if you look at our pages on social media, you'll see a lot of people who aren't even related to the person, but they know that person, they know that resident. And when they see them doing something like making cookies or making a really cool craft or doing something fun like dancing in the hallway to some favorite oldies jam that they had, there's lots of people that are chiming in and saying, oh, I know so-and-so and they were my third grade teacher, or I know so-and-so, they were my post person, like, my postal person. And so just lots of great connections in the community. And that helps build a culture, I think, for people to get really excited about Christian Care. And it builds our brand up in a different way. And it makes people feel good and comfortable with our brand. We see that as a really great way to use marketing in lots of different channels and strategies.
More great insight from Preston. I love to hear how he talks about the engagement that posting exciting things on Facebook can offer. And now we're going to hear from a dining services director as well as a business development director from Trilogy Health Services to share what they are doing in this area.
Hi, I'm Eric Johnson, Vice President for Culinary Services with Trilogy Health Services.
Hi, my name is Molly Zinzer, and I'm Divisional Business Development with Trilogy Health Services in both South Ohio and Central Ohio. Using our dining experience at Trilogy as a marketing tool is a key to obtaining high occupancy. Food is typically one of the most important features for a potential resident or their family member when looking for a new place for them to call home. And our fine dining experience is one of the services that sets us apart from our competitors, especially our Flavorful Balance program.
So many of our powerful memories are tied to our sense of taste and smell. So we want to give our sales prospects a chance to taste and smell the food themselves so they can see firsthand what life is like at a Trilogy senior living community. So we tell our story to future residents using some typical strategies, including social media, print ads, and marketing collateral. Our website has an entire page dedicated to our dining experience. And at campus and community events, we try to ensure that our prospects have the opportunity to sample our culinary offerings firsthand. We typically incorporate a special treat that our chefs make that day directly from the kitchen for every tour and potential prospect.
At Trilogy, we also enjoy taking it on the road and participating in community events outside of the campus. This allows us to reach a larger demographic as well as provides for quality grassroots marketing.
Trilogy also offers families the opportunity to enjoy our culinary talents during our monthly Sunday brunches and our quarterly family nights. We do market our dining program directly to our employees. We've created some internal education pieces designed to meet two different goals. The first is to educate our employees about our dining programs, and the second, maybe more importantly, is to get them excited about everything we have to offer. I had the opportunity to partner with our Chief Marketing Officer to promote our Flavorful Balance program to our employees. The thinking is that when our employees understand what makes Trilogy different, they can speak directly to others about it. Plus, it drives home the fact that they work for a provider who believes in the importance of quality, delicious food and service.
We also find value in marketing our dining program to other local healthcare organizations when we don't share the same service lines of care. In these opportunities to partner with our competitors, we want them to know what we offer and be confident in sharing a referral with us.
What a great story from Molly and Eric. They really gave us a summary or a highlight of all the key points we've been talking about so far today. And well, Nick, you've been quietly taking everything in over there. It's about time we get back to you and the reason we asked you to join us. We did that because digital marketing is certainly a key part of overall marketing. And as Barb mentioned, the coronavirus pandemic has accelerated the need for long-term care to use digital tools such as websites and social media as their primary marketing strategy, since so many of the traditional forms of marketing, like events and in-person tours, have been limited. As the use of digital marketing tools rise, a competitive gap could develop between those who are sophisticated in their use and those that are less effective in that area. So let's transition to Nick with his professional view of why digital marketing is important.
Thank you, Dana. I am glad to be here and happy to be part of this seminar. As a reminder, I'm the general manager of a new health, safety, and certification program called Trust 20. We have a digital forward marketing approach, and many of the things I'll share have formed the foundation of our own digital marketing strategy. But first, I do want to reemphasize the importance of digital. We all interact on digital channels in our daily lives. Digital channels are now in fact ubiquitous in our world and one of the main places to reach people. There's also this notion that certain age groups are late adopters, including the 65+ age population. And while this may have been true at one time, over 75% of this cohort is now online using the internet, while their children and grandchildren are approaching 100%. So what I'm going to talk about today is how to view digital capabilities as part of your overall marketing strategy. There's a lot of opportunity to use digital to connect your dining program in with the overall senior living marketing strategy, or to develop components of your own strategy. Now, digital can seem overwhelming, but I do want to encourage you to take a step back and make sure that digital capabilities you are using are part of a well-thought-out marketing strategy. Now, there's two ways to view digital as part of your marketing strategy. The first, and what I'll cover most, is a digital-centric marketing approach that uses digital channels as a primary way to move people through your marketing funnel. Your website and social media channels are key for this. Digital tools can also be used as supporting components of a marketing approach built primarily around other channels. Enhancing physical experiences is a good example of this, and I'll talk a little bit more about examples further in the presentation. Now, you're likely to have an omni-channel approach that uses digital in both of these capacities, but for simplicity, we'll focus on these as separate strategies for this seminar. So as I mentioned, I'll talk first, and for most of the seminar, about how to use digital capabilities as part of your primary marketing strategy. I'll start with your website. So business legitimacy today is really based on having a website. So it's a necessary thing for all organizations to have. However, your website is much more than that and a very powerful tool if used well. It's the first touch point anyone has with your organization and how you are discovered via search engines on the internet. It's your billboard, and it's your primary communication tool with prospective customers. You typically have about 8 seconds to capture someone's attention and guide them to a specific action before they leave. So I'd like to share an example with you. This is a screenshot from Brookdale Senior Living and what appears above the fold, or what people see before they scroll. This is basically what you get to tell people who you are and to guide them to take a specific action. Now, we haven't done specific user research on what people are viewing on this page, but I can tell you that the words in the middle matter the most, and the action in the center of the screen is the most important. So what I can see when I visit this page is that I can get help from this place, and I can search in this bar for the type of help that I need. Secondarily, I can navigate to the top of the screen and easily find a location or call a phone number to learn more. Now, this is an example of a desktop screen, but mobile is just as, if not even more important. About half of all web traffic originates from mobile devices, and that number is only increasing. So what does this mean to you? This means it's important, where possible, to integrate dining program content onto your organization's homepage, and also to apply many of the principles that we're going to go over shortly to the dining homepage itself. So let's dive deeper into how to put your website to work. I'm going to share some strategies that are aligned to components of a typical marketing funnel. Your website is a tool that can be used across all components of your marketing funnel, and we'll focus specifically on prospect acquisition. So these are potential customers, how you get in front of them and how you enter them into your marketing funnel, customer engagement, and then ultimately how you convert prospects to paying residents. So the main strategic components that we'll cover during this seminar include search engine optimization, or SEO, paid advertising, email capture, comments and discussion boards, surveys, and lastly, the importance of clear goals and a good user experience on your website. So the first thing I want to talk about is search engine optimization. Search engine optimization, or SEO for short, is how you maximize the chance of appearing as the first thing somebody sees when they search for something related to your organization or what you're providing. It's one of the best ways to acquire people digitally over the long run. Now, everybody knows Google, and it's the primary search engine that's used, but Microsoft's Bing product still has about 35% of the market, so you don't want to ignore them as a search engine. Now, neither of these companies reveals their algorithm, but their goal is really to help the user find the most relevant, up-to-date information. So you want to make sure that you have relevant content, that it's timely and up-to-date, that you're connected to others on the internet, and that your website is easy to navigate. People are likely searching and wanting to learn about dining programs, so each of these strategies is going to help you service to them when they're looking for that. The first is content. Content is perhaps what matters most. It's what's written on your website, as well as the publishing dates that are important. This is the reason that most people have a blog or content schedule where they're constantly refreshing information. You want to make sure that you're creating content that's relevant to your organization, but that you also understand what people and your target audience are searching for. So you will want to use some tools like Google Analytics and Google Trends to identify the types of search terms people are using and develop content that aligns with a lot of those search terms. The second thing that's important is your meta descriptions. This is basically the text that appears in the search result, and it's the behind the scenes content of your website. Search engines crawl this text in addition to the content on your website. Most website builders have places where you type this content, or your developer will be able to type this for you. Now, you do want to make sure that what you're typing is logical and you're not just typing senior living dining program on repeat, because the search engines are smart enough now to catch for those things. The third thing I want to cover is backlinks. So it's important for you to be connected to others on the website. Backlinks are when other sites have links that link to your site. Well-known and highly trafficked websites linking to your site are important to help improve your search ranking. This is why partnerships are just so important in digital marketing. Well-known brands like General Mills or other vendors of your products, perhaps chefs or others in the food industry, linking to your site will help improve not only the traffic that you get, but also your rankings on search engines.
So Nick, would an example be if an organization was doing a walk for the Alzheimer's Association and they put the link for the Alzheimer's Association on their website to sign up for the walk or whatever it might be? That would be a way to link to them, correct? And then usually those associations will put a list of organizations that are doing walks in the area, so then that would link it back to the community.
Yes, exactly. So you can't control everybody who's linking to your website, but you can link out to a lot of other organizations. And often what happens is organically, those organizations may link back to you, or somebody else who is reading it might discover you and they'll include you in a link in their website. So some of it just kind of helps this connectivity of the internet, and the search engines will search for those type of things and improve your ranking if you're more connected to other organizations. Now, the last thing that's important is your user experience. So a well-designed site with clear communication and a clear call to action will assist your ranking as well. Next, I'll talk about paid advertising. So getting a good ranking on SEO can take time, but paid will help you reach people now and more quickly, and also can supplement and expand your reach in addition to optimizing for your search engine results. Now, your goal with digital advertising is similar to advertising in any other channel. You're paying to get your messaging in front of people and for prospective customers that you can reach out to in the future. Now, digital can get much more specific, and there are a lot more options for how you can advertise and how you can target your advertising. Now, this means you can often get more bang for your buck and a higher ROI for the dollars that you put in. However, you do need to understand very deeply who your customers are, and you also may need to experiment a bit to learn what works for you and what doesn't. The first is pay-per-click ads. These are the ads that appear at the top of the search engine when you type in a specific search term. It usually will say ad next to the search result so you can identify it as an advertisement. You may want to consider running some paid search ads for your dining program with dining-specific content to see how prospective customers react to that. The next is display ads. These appear in web browsers or within web content. If they're relevant to content, they often can be highly effective. Now, you can purchase these often through companies that run across multiple websites with relevant content and see how these work for you. You'll often want to test different types of creative and different messaging, which digital advertising channels allow you to do with much more specificity than traditional advertising channels. So you'll be able to run 2 or 3 types of ads at the same time, and if one works much better than the other 2, you can quickly shut down on the other 2 and direct your money towards the one that's working. You'll likely want to test some different ads for your dining program and messaging to see how this is working for you. The third thing is affiliates. Now, affiliate marketing is a more targeted and engaging way to reach people. This may involve writing an article and paying someone to have it included on their website. For example, you might want to pay Argentum or the Senior Dining Association to run something written about your dining program and your organization. Or things like top 10 lists or best of senior living dining programs. These are often paid affiliate marketing channels that you can pay to be included on these rankings. Now, lastly is paid social. This is very prevalent today and a great way to advertise digitally. You can run hyper-targeted campaigns with very specific goals across social media channels. You can do this to build awareness, to very specifically try to identify and acquire prospective customers, or other different options that the social media channels provide you. In prepping for the seminar, for example, I did a lot of research on different senior living organizations, and immediately I've been getting Sunrise Senior Living advertisements on Facebook. So whatever Sunrise is doing is working well as far as using paid social channels to reach people who are interested in their organization and their content. Now, the third thing I want to cover in prospect acquisition is email capture. This allows you to capture interested audiences and deepen your relationship with them. You want to know who's visiting your website and engage with the people who are interested as soon as possible. Having a way to capture their information and provide them something of value makes an easy opt-in for them to provide you with their email address or other information if you choose to capture that as well. There's a couple different ways you can do this. One is pop-up ECAPs. This is very common, and nearly all organizations who are commerce-focused currently have some mechanism that pops up that offers you a discount or a newsletter sign-up to provide your email. Some other less intrusive options include a sticky top bar, so you could have something that stays permanently on the top of your web page, that somebody can enter their email if they are interested in signing up for a newsletter, gaining a promotion, or whatever else you'd like to offer them. The third way is to include something in page. Including something in page means you can require an email address to download something that's of value to the user. So this might be a downloadable guide or another piece of content that you've put time and effort into that is valuable to them. You might as well ask for something in exchange rather than just giving it away for free. Now let's move on to customer engagement. Once you have somebody identified, you want to keep them engaged on your website so they stay longer than that 8 seconds. The best way to do this is to have relevant content where they're identifying something that they want to read and they're learning from it. But there's ways for you to enhance this interaction by creating a two-way street of communication. The first is comments and discussion boards. Many of you have viewed news articles, provided reviews on Amazon, and those type of things. This is a very common way to provide comments and discussion among people viewing your website. You might want to consider having ways for people to recommend dishes, to talk about their meals with their friends, or to provide comments for the dining program that your organization is providing. You, of course, do want to monitor for trolls to make sure that nobody's saying anything offensive that you don't want surfaced on your website. Another way is surveys. People love giving opinions, and there are easy add-ons that can pop up in the corner of a screen for a 1 or 2 question survey. This is a great way to engage people, but also learn something to improve your food and your program. And lastly, and probably most importantly, is you want to convert people who are visiting on digital channels ultimately to paying residents and paying customers. This means it's important to have clear goals on your website of what you're trying to get somebody to do. These are two examples of great websites that I encountered where it's very clear that they're trying to make it easy for somebody to identify a community to join. Finding a community is front and center. There's an easy button to click to search for a community and identify something that works for them. They also have great user experiences where it's easy to navigate on the web page, which will help both their SEO rankings, but also the experience of the person on the website. Now that we've talked about your website, let's talk about an equally important tool, social media channels. Your social channels help you drive conversation, and it's the way for you to get your brand out into the world. Your customers are here on social channels. You're able to target very specific customized audiences, and you also can gauge sentiment and learn from what people are saying and take that information back to improve your dining program and what you're providing to customers. Now, which channels matter? There's a lot of channels out there, and there's continually new channels that are emerging, but there's 4 main ones that you should pay attention to today. They include Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And I'll go over some high-level stats as far as what these platforms will help you reach and also what they're good for. Now, Facebook is the largest with 2.7 billion users. 70% of US adults are currently on Facebook. It's primarily a B2C channel, so primarily to help you market to end customers or end consumers. And it's really good for curated content, videos, live webinars and hosting digital events, and running promotions. The second most used is Instagram. Instagram has 1 billion users, and it's used by 37% of US adults. It's also primarily a B2C channel. Instagram is well known for its ability for high-res photographs, short videos, special promotions, and also a way for you to create fun how-to videos. People on Instagram also love food. You'll see a lot of foodie type pictures, so this is a great channel for you to use to promote the food of your dining program. Third is Twitter. Twitter has 340 million users. 22% of US adults use Twitter. Compared to Facebook and Instagram, Twitter is more of a B2B channel. It's information-based, allows easy resharing of relevant information, and is short and sweet. And lastly, LinkedIn. LinkedIn has 766 million users. That's 27% of US adults and also is a primarily B2B marketing channel. Many of you are probably on LinkedIn, and you'll notice that it's more business and career information focused. It's a great place for job postings and other professional content.
So Nick, can I ask what would be the best channel to use to promote your dining program strategies?
Yeah, I would say Facebook and Instagram are going to be the best, mostly because you have a high user base, but also you can include photos and videos. People love looking at pictures of food, and that attracts eyeballs and will get people to learn more about your program and your organization. All right, so let's talk about something you've probably heard before, organic versus paid marketing on social media. What do these terms mean? So organic marketing are the posts that you're doing and the things that you're doing to create an engaged following. You create content, you have others share your content that you're posting, people comment and react, and hopefully you can convert some of these engaged participants into prospective customers and residents of your long-term care community. Now this takes time and focused, consistent work. You have to have somebody dedicated to keeping up with your channels, to monitoring them, and to understanding how people are engaging or not engaging with your channels. And as I mentioned to Dana earlier, people love food, especially on Instagram. So posting food pictures, food and faces tend to get the most likes and the most kind of reactions from people on these social channels. Now, while organic takes time and a more dedicated effort, paid advertising, as I mentioned before, is a way for you to reach a broader audience more quickly, but also to reach people who aren't necessarily your followers. There's visuals and texts that appear in feeds, and you can run very specific and targeted ads down to individual people in some circumstances. For those of you who are on LinkedIn, you might have gotten a message from somebody advertising something specifically or asking you a question. LinkedIn allows you to target individual people with very specific messages. So what should you do with your social media channels? Well, there's a lot of things to focus on, and that requires a whole seminar in and of itself, but I do want to cover on 3 strategic considerations of things that you can do and focus on today. The first is you can really just focus on building an engaged following as social channels. So having followers are key to reaching your prospective audience. Having 50 people reading what you're posting is not as helpful as having 10,000 people reading what you're posting. The other thing you want to focus on is having people engaged in the content that you're posting. So you want people to share things. You want people to respond to things. This gets your message, your name, your brand, your content in front of more eyeballs, helps you gain more followers, and helps you ultimately market what you're providing. Now, the main challenge and the thing you'll have to focus on with this is that it takes time. You have to consistently nurture your accounts and be focused and dedicated to do this. The second thing you can start doing with your social channels today is really look at this hyper-targeted promotion and start using them to do targeted paid advertising. You can reach specific groups and individuals who are more likely to buy your product or service on social channels. Now, the main challenge with this is really understanding who your audience is. These tools are great, but it's only as great as the information that you're able to put in. So you're going to want to know who your specific target audience is, the age groups, the demographics, the geographies, all those types of characteristics, so the social media channels and advertising engines can target and serve your ads to the right people. And the last thing is partnerships. If you're operating a silo right now, I would highly encourage you to just generally expand the types of organizations you have partnerships to. This is going to help you cross-promote, grow audiences more quickly, but also tap into the network benefit of social media. Now, the main challenge with this is identifying the right partners with the right audiences that are going to best align with your objectives. All right, so we've covered a lot on how to use digital channels as your primary marketing focus. But you can use digital in a number of different ways to support other marketing efforts that you have. This is called using digital as an enabling tool. It can be used in multiple different ways, and I'll just share some examples of things you might want to consider doing with digital tools to enhance your experience with your prospective and current customers right now. So the first is enhancing events. I know with COVID and the current pandemic, there's been less in-person events than there has been in the past. However, it's likely in the future you'll be able to, if you haven't already, to start doing some of this activity again. So presentations, tours, other in-person activities. Digital is a great way to enhance that experience. You can create a more engaged audience by doing things like live polls, having digital event pages to get people to sign up, but then also just providing general informational web pages and ways to follow up with people after those events. Digital is also a great way to improve the dining experience. Things like digital menus not only make it easy for you to update those, but it's easier for you to share that content with your community so people can see what you're serving and view more details about the items on your menu. You can also include things like ingredient sourcing, the specific farms that food comes from for locally sourced product, or other sourcing information. It's also a great way for you to capture feedback and for people to share within their networks and within their social structures what they've been eating at your organization. So create some natural marketing that can support you as well. Now, the last thing I want to cover is the importance of data with digital. Any digital experience you provide is an opportunity for you to capture information about the person who is viewing your website, who is interacting with your digital menu, or who is taking your live survey or poll. You can use that information to respond to their preferences, likes, and dislikes to provide them a better dining experience and a better product. You can also track progress and performance about what you're doing and use that to make more informed decisions for your overall program.
Wow, Nick, you have given us so much to think about. I had no idea so much went into digital marketing. Thank you very much. We have so much from that you can take back to your communities and talk with your business development teams and your marketing teams and be informed, to ask informed questions now, right? And really, the bottom line is what we're talking about is dining can be a very helpful strategy to improve your business development and increase occupancy. Innovative dining, that is, right? And once you decide what innovative dining program you're going to offer, you gotta remember to tell people about it. And you gotta tell people about it in all types of marketing. But Nick reminds us that digital marketing is growing, and there's an opportunity to be sophisticated in our digital marketing. And like I said, now we have all the information we need to take back to our experts at our home offices and ask informed questions. You might even say, hey, we have a blog. Shouldn't I be writing dining stories in the blog? I hope you can take a lot of tips and tidbits from this. And in fact, we have a new resource for you. We have a marketing guide using your innovative dining program as marketing available to you from your Gordon Food Service sales rep. If you are at the Gordon Food Service show today, visit us at the It's Your Business booth and you can download a copy yourself. And of note, this booth, the It's Your Business booth, is the same place you can fill out a seminar evaluation form to tell us how we did today and if this was helpful to you, and get a continuing education unit credit if you're looking for that. This seminar has been approved through the Nursing Home Administrator Board, Association for Nutrition and Food Professionals, the Academy of Nutrition Dietetics, and the American Culinary Federation. Thank you so much for your time.